What if freedom isn't something you have to chase, but something that's already within you, just waiting to be discovered? This episode is for mature audiences only. Here in the Vibe Clinic, it's just as important to embrace the insult as well as healing the injury. Sometimes it's just necessary to go there, wherever there is. As we sit up, good and grown, let's remain sensitively aware and empathetic as others share their stories as beacons of light and experience, shining bright for us all to see. Many of us begin our understanding of freedom as an external thing, a lifestyle, a societal right, or even a luxury. But what does freedom mean when it's rooted in your own inner peace rather than outside measures? It could be a lot, y'all. Just realizing what we ignore daily. So let's take some deep breaths together and allow me to encourage you to let go of any fixed ideas of what freedom is or what it's supposed to look like. What's up, Conscious Crew, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Vibe Clinic. We come through with bi-weekly insights, emotional hacks, and sheer encouragement to use on the journey of self-love and self-discovery to self-mastery. And I am your humble host, Cece. Are y'all ready to explore the multi-dimensional realms of freedom? Debunking unaligned perceptions of freedom in real time. It is my goal this session to gain a better understanding of freedom, to rediscover ways to live a life of liberation. Through coffee conversations with Paige, testimonials from my mother and myself. You know what? Just stay locked in. Buckle up, cause we finna ride. According to Oxford Dictionary, freedom is defined as the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants, without hindrance or restraint. Okay, so traditionally, freedom is formed as independence from constraint, financial freedom, freedom of speech or movement. All are dope, but we cannot forget about our person, that inner freedom. We got to be aware of that, y'all, because bondage anchors within our inner world, right? And it taints the very layers of who we are and what we believe in. Sometimes freedom can look like taking a significant power of choice and exercise it, and by deciding to simply let go of a need to control everything, because we don't. Or freedom could be detaching from an external expectation of success. My hands raised, releasing the need to meet standards set by our families and this society. Know that the stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we hold on to, the judgments we cling to, they all shape how we feel. That's real talk. And to feel better, and to think better, and to do better, this redefines that narrative. So freedom becomes less about what is achieved and more about who we allow ourselves to be?
The layers of your being, your character has layers. Your pretty much it's your character, your personality has layers. It's you. Your whole being is layered.
Yes.
Through life.
Yes.
Like every occurrence, every conversation, every accomplishment, every sense of loss, every attribute of joy and fun or lack, despair could be even, ignorance could be even, every attribute of life, it builds us. Like we have our skin, and of course our skin has layers. We have our outer form,
and also everything that you do or don't do
has layers. Like literally everything has layers, you know. And these layers, they build with like our inner skin. Just like on the outside, we have to nourish our skin to like not be ashy or
to have a glow.
Oh, that's a byproduct of nurturing yourself inwardly.
You keep it up.
Yeah, you glow
and
stuff. Absolutely. So just like we do this, we manicure on the outside, we get our pedicures, or we do our feet ourselves. We just maintain our hygiene, our oral care, while we wash our hair. So our inner skin, like all of that other, the character, the personality, what you believe, you know, your morals and ethics, all of that stuff, what you've been taught, you know, your circumstances, all of that stuff build that inner skin. And if we don't manicure and nurture that inner skin, is better, way better, before we even nurture the outside skin, it'll overgrow and it'll become rough. The inside will become rough. The inside will become calloused and stained and decay, necrotic. You know what I mean? That on the inside. If I mean, you know, that's I need to do something. If I show up to the emergency room with necrotic skin, that means there's something else going on around. You know, and I need to do something. Same thing. We need to be in tune to our condition of our inner skin. That's right. Because when we nurture and tune into our inner skin and nourish that, baby, that glow shines pure light where you're able to see. You may not see everything, but you're able. You ain't just gonna be walking around stumping your toes.
No.
Through life.
No.
You know what I mean? You ain't gonna be just walking in the walls. You know, you ain't just gonna be riding off a cliff because you ain't know. Like,
that'd be terrible.
That's real.
I know.
Look how many people in the music industry gotten so taken advantage of because they did not know. And that's a far, because I'm not even in the music industry, and I'm not, you know what I'm saying? That's way far.
Yeah.
It's a lot happened before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
layer.
There's so many layers.
When you mention delicate, and the layers are thin. And
yes.
Delicate.
Yes.
And they're a lot is an understatement. There's so many. There's an abundance of layers that you have, and I think you have to recognize that you have them. But then when you peel back, you just keep peeling and peeling.
Just keep peeling. Just keep peeling.
And it's tiring. However, you know that the center is where everything lies. Everything.
And even the center has layers.
And even
because the center even the center has layers. They'll never stop being layers.
Right.
Because in the center, I would equate that, just when you said center, I would equate that as our spirit self. But I feel like our spirit self still has layers, because there's layers of belief. There's layers of faith that you have to peel through. You don't just get to the center and you just an all-time believer. You got to get to the center to start believing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you gotta peel. You gotta learn you gotta recognize what it is you believe in. You gotta learn how that came about. You gotta learn how them situations was handled.
It's always layers.
You gotta learn, you gotta learn why you believe what you believe. And then you got to learn how to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Because how you believe it is the exact correlation to faith.
Okay. Freedom is absolute. The idea of achieving total unrestricted freedom, it sounds good, but unrealistic than a mug. You see, the actions and freedoms are often intertwined with those of others. That's why laws and regulations exist, to bring a balance to personal freedoms with more of a societal well-being. You know, absolute freedom for one could mean oppression for another. Imagine life without compromise, without influence, without constraints. In reality, freedom is a spectrum. It's about learning to navigate our choices within the framework of our existence, of who we are. Freedom is learning to be flexible and live in a path of less resistance to accommodate for life's natural constraints. Myth number 1 for freedom is absolute is giving debunked. Nah, but for real though, I had to come back in a tone of message on them filters, the filters of their heart and your mind, y'all. We have to make sure they are replaced, because I ain't gonna lie, when I go get my oil change, I do decline sometimes for that air filter. Just saying, but for this one, we cannot. We can't. Because this filter, our minds and our hearts literally filter in this, what's perceived from this reality. So we have to make sure this filter is rooted in consciousness, because this is the very thing that's sifting opportunity in real time. And this, in seeing that, it ushers a bridge of understanding directly with our senses. Because this data that's being perceived is the building block of our perception of how we experience this life. So speak that thing, believe that thing, live that thing. Ooh, the multidimensionality of freedom is dope. We become mentally free as we release limiting beliefs. Let's explore freedom to recognize that our thoughts are reality. Explore freedom to not getting caught up with labels or identities worn by habit. Imagine how I feel to let all that go. Oh, and then to achieve some emotional freedom. Allow yourself to feel without that inner critic censoring every little thing. Ooh, it's not a weakness to feel, you know. Allow emotional freedom to reframe and repackage vulnerability as a strength. This not only deepens relationship with others, but also to yourself. I can attest that emotional freedom is a real thing. Post-traumatic experiences, lack, mental health issues, they all contributed to the bondage of my emotions. Thinking back, I noticed the way I felt and the way I acted were two separate things. I've always been a person that loves seeing everybody else happy. I do whatever I could to help anyone else and to not have to deal with the underbelly of the sensations of victimizations. Only way I can put it. I just could never understand why people did what they did. And I used to try so hard to understand why. The common deviances hidden by silence, the arrogance, the hate. I'm a feeler. And so I've just always been sensitive of a collective energy. And I used to allow these manipulative minds and hearts run me in so many ways. And over the years, it got so bad that I didn't even really know how I felt about anything. I didn't have an opinion on anything. I couldn't tell me from everything else about my perspective, the real me. And then when I came in contact, I found that she was a scared little girl. And that's cold, especially when a scared little girl is housed in a grown woman body. Talk about a mixed match of perception. My emotional and traumatic bondages realized within myself was overwhelming. And I didn't start to realize a lot of this stuff until my body slowed down. And I got hurt and I stopped working. So it was a financial thing. It was a physical thing. It was a mental thing. It was an emotional thing. And all these things that I've just been covered up all this time came out, and systems began to straight up fail. It was evident in reality that a crash landing was imminent. But God, y'all, I remember that day that God's grace and mercy embraced my crash landing. Oh, it hurt now, but it didn't kill me. It was then that I decided to believe and understand that everything happened to me is and was for a reason. And all I went through, all my mama went through, all my daddy went through, my grandparents went through, my ancestry, it can't be in vain. The realized circumstances of my life has built testimony and has guided my ability to courageously embark in the journey of healing and forgiving and living accountably present. Trauma creates such narrow views of what's possible. But as we heal, freedom expand, baby. And your breath becomes an inspiration. Everything encountered here was enough for me to formulate a theory of survival and remind others to be encouraged, to stay encouraged, to keep hope alive, because I know what it's like to feel hopeless. Yeah. Press on. Awareness to overcome all while healing debts of the heart, mind, and soul by C.C. Robinson. Myth 2. Freedom equals happiness. It doesn't. Freedom and happiness are two separate things. Now, these are my opinions, y'all. I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say. Drop if y'all disagree or agree. Let me know in the comments. Because for real, freedom brings in mighty complex layers of responsibility. Freedom demands you to make difficult choices. That's what I be talking about. Like these filters I talk about, these mindsets, these heart sets we discuss right here on this podcast. We encourage acknowledgement to what you think and how you feel. the condition of your moral and character. True freedom make you look in the mirror. And most times the reflection staring back is missing something. Try exercising the personal freedoms that's been ignored. Living a life of freedom has a byproduct of sheer joy. So it depends on how you look at freedom. I'm gonna ask y'all, should I debunk this? Should we? Leave a comment and tell me if you would like to debunk the myth of freedom equals happiness. I'm gonna leave this one up to y'all. Ba-dum-bum. Ba-dum-bum-bow. Spread love, not hate. And this is not up for debate. Even in the worst circumstances, I'd rather spread a message of love and of hope and of prosperity, of peace, than spread fear and hate. I mean, you don't even have to look for it and you'll find it. That's how abundant fear is. Fear is the opposite extreme of an abundant mindset. Fear is straight up lack on everything. It's always something, very much something. Everybody ain't in the same place, but we can love where the safe distance that's required between you two. You don't have to be in the same place. It don't have to be a complete understanding, but I can love you where you at. I can love you from over there. And it's knowing where to draw that line to where that becomes over there and not right here, right now. Y'all ready for myth 3? Freedom is the absence of restrictions. Side. True freedom is very much structured. Personal boundaries, they must exist. They are assets on this journey. Personal boundaries create a safe space for true, authentic, homegrown freedom to freely be expressed. But no, how does one find freedom in the constraints that you didn't even set?
You were asking me, what did I think about freedom as it is now? Well, you can't just go now and go backward. Otherwise, you'll miss all of what make you know whether it's freedom or not. And my opinion is, being 83 in another month, freedom hasn't come very far from when I was a kid growing up, born and raised in this place, Bradenton. You have to realize that part of our lives to know what freedom really is or isn't. And like I said, my opinion is freedom hasn't come very far, because the same things that went on then, they're now, but more discreet. And I would like to know, my part is to know what freedom is. Who gave permission, or how did it start that one race is better than another one? God says in the Bible, we are all born equally. So how did it start, or what make other races think that they have priority and seniority over less dominant races? I don't think I ever get an answer on that part.
That's a great question.
I mean, how did that part start?
Greed.
But I mean, how did it start?
Yeah.
It started somewhere.
Yeah.
Freedom is not exercised as far as I'm concerned.
In what way do you believe that there's different levels to freedom. Like, yeah, like physically free, physical freedom. Like, we're not in jail. We're not.
Yeah.
But then, so yeah, that's physical freedom. But then, like, emotional freedom and spiritual freedom. Like,
freedom.
Yeah, okay.
Freedom is freedom, regardless of what way you want to put it.
Mhm.
But I just don't think that it has done very much. I haven't seen freedom, and I'm 80, I'll be 83.
Mhm.
I haven't really seen freedom move from when I was 9, 10.
Mhm.
The same thing goes on. Races is still discriminated on. All of this, and about people that are really have the power to change things.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think this is the way the world that God
Mhm.
had it to be.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
until we get to that point, and I don't think it's anything too much with the way it's changed at all.
Mm.
I really don't.
So you don't think it's changed since?
Certain things have changed. You can vote now, and you know
Mhm.
do certain little things that make that's supposed to make you feel superior or equal to someone just because you can vote now, or
Mhm.
they
Well, it just should have been that way in the
it
beginning.
should have been all the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
We had to hide to learn to read the Bible. They didn't allow black people to read the Bible and slaves to read the Bible because they didn't want them to learn any better.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, so hey, what do you do about that?
What can be done right now? Like you said, 82 years, your experience here on this earth. What do you think we could do or could be done for you to experience like freedom?
It didn't take. It took 82 years and some, 200 and some years
Mhm.
to get to this point.
Mhm.
You're not going to reach it overnight. You're not going to reach it overnight. It took
Mhm.
a long time to get where we are, and it's going to take a long time to keep going. I think
Mhm.
because you ain't going to have people. You still the world is still divided.
Mhm.
You know, it's divided. So
How do you not dislike other races?
I personally, I love everyone.
Right.
The race doesn't have anything to do with it as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
You know, I don't hate anyone.
What would be your message to people who do?
Well, you'll never see God. First of all,
Mhm.
you'll never see Him. Not hating someone.
Mhm.
All of us. He says all of us are equal, born equal.
Mhm.
So that's who I trust and that's who I believe. So
Mhm.
I'm not the right one to answer that question. If you want to be honest, because I love everybody.
Yeah, that's good.
Spiritual freedom, my favorite freedom. To achieve this, you got to follow your own truth. This freedom allows one to live in alignment with the values and passion of your calling. This very podcast is a byproduct of freedom. You know, find the small ways to honor your inner beliefs or dreams daily, as outright as possible as practice of spiritual freedom. Don't be afraid to break away from conformity to live as your highest self. The crazier it looks to others within reason, the more in alignment you are with your whole self. Yeah, constructing bridges of freedom is an important gig now, and it isn't for the faint of heart. So let's recap. Now, how to do it. Give yourself grace. Understand perfection ain't it. It never has been. Be kind to yourself. Do things that bring you joy. Say no when you need to, and by all means, get some rest. When you're not working, you gotta reflect and journal. You gotta know that freedom is gradual. She is a personal process and there's no finish line. So seeking freedom in all that its dimensions is an act of courage and self-love. Remember, there's freedom in being whole, not perfect. Accept the wounds, they're a part of you. Good luck.
Now we're gonna pour you up a cup of that liquid funk.
Y'all good? I know y'all good. I'm so grateful for every last one of y'all. Know that. Throughout this journey of acquiring my own freedoms, I found a door deep in my heart where passion was speaking in tones of empathy. I was ready to forgive and reclaim and to reimagine this time and space coordinate, this thing called life. So find your inner doors and go through them because change is here. Redefining freedom is liberatingly powerful. Freedom goes beyond the physical, financial, and political. It encompasses emotional, psychological, social, and spiritual dimensions as well. Freedom is something you reap by making right choices, provoking right outcomes, and everyone is worthy of discovering their unique forms of freedom. One choice, one step, and one breath at a time. God bless you. And until next time, peace.